Right, we out here. At the Garifland. Chasing muskrats and dingleberries.
Jackson them scouts.
Tracking them scouts. Are we alright? Hair's alright too. We got near sunburn. But hair system's alright. Oh! What's this? It's a Tyrannosaurus ankle. It's a rock. Ha! It's still gorgeous. Look at that chicken.
Hey guys, what's going on? Today wanted to talk to you a little bit about where I'm living these days and the conditions and the challenges that I'm actually facing with hair systems. That way you can be a little bit more prepared as you are wearing a hair system anywhere around the earth. So I am now living in Salt Lake City, Utah. Before this, I was living in Florida. They're very different climates and they're different geographies. Now in Florida, we have a very hot climate that's sunny all the time and that's really, really humid. And it's like that all year round, which can be challenging for a hair system. You know, you have the situation where you get glue melting, you get adhesives melting very, very easily. You have a lot of sun exposure. And, you know, ideally you have a hair system that is somewhat breathable to alleviate some of that sweating and some of that uncomfortableness that you get with, you know, a non-breathable unit. On top of that, you have to factor in the sweating when it comes to the adhesives that you use, and so on and so forth. On top of that, it's a humid climate, which actually can kind of help hair systems in a little bit. So now I'm living in Salt Lake City, Utah. Salt Lake City is really the high desert meets the desert. And here we have a little bit different situation. One, it's extremely hot during the summer and it's pretty cold during the winter. But on top of this, it's a very arid climate, meaning that there's not much humidity, there's not much moisture in the air, and it's sunny all the time. All the time it's sunny out here. So, you know, the problems that are being faced, so the problems that I'm facing out here, they're similar, but they're a little bit different. Number one, the sun exposure is, I think, potentially even more. Number one, I think the sun exposure is potentially even more intense than Florida because we're at a higher elevation, thousands and thousands of feet above the elevation of Florida. It really hits you. The UV radiation hits you harder. Like, you can feel it when you're going out, when you're getting a tan, spending time outdoors. The exposure definitely feels more intense. And I feel that hair systems photo bleach really easy out here. You know, this is photo bleaching, for those of you that do not know, is when your hair system or when someone's hair, which there is genetic variance that people have this, when you get exposure to the sun, it changes the color of your hair. Now, a hair system does this because it is actually color treated. These are chemicals, and when they oxidize and they get exposed to, you know, the radiation that the sun emits, it actually changes the color of them, and it tends to bring out brassy tones, which makes your hair system look maybe more reddish, more orangish, depending on the natural color of it, which ultimately means it's not a perfect match for you, not perfectly suited to your color. Even right now, you can see that there's a slight color variation between my natural hair color and the hair system I'm wearing. But I have found ways to circumvent that. I did around halfway through, maybe 3/4 of my usage through this hair system, and I'm kind of getting ready to install another one. Those things are namely color depositing conditioners and shampoos, and I do recommend you use both of them. Now, when you're using a color depositing shampoo and conditioner, these are going to be things that you want to use multiple times a week, especially if you're out in the sun a lot. Like I've been, since I moved out here, I've been in the outdoors a lot, and which is super fun, but it's definitely causing my hair system to bleach a little bit more. Now, the other way you can circumvent this is, of course, wearing hats when you're getting sun exposure. You know, throw on a hat, make it look casual if you can. It can save a lot of life from your hair system. Now, the other thing that I'm dealing with out here in Utah that's significant is the arid nature of the climate, the fact that there's not much humidity. Now, I think that drastically makes hair systems more susceptible to feeling dull and to feel brittle and hard and coarse, which essentially comes from dryness. So what that means is that we have to go in and we have to install some natural oils into the hair. Argan oil is a great tool to help with this, and then making sure that you're using leave-in conditioner. And sometimes I'm applying oil twice a day. Not a lot, but just running my hands through, trying to keep it as moisturized as possible. So dealing with the aridity of a climate is something that you will have to deal with depending on where you live. Now lastly, it is god stinking hot out here in Salt Lake City during the summer. During the winter, it was really, really cold. But right now, it's real hot. It's like 90 to 100 degrees every single day. On top of that, you guys know I do CrossFit, I work out all the time, every single day. And when I'm not doing that, I'm out mountain biking, hiking, all that kind of stuff. So this is still a situation where ideally you're gonna be wearing a breathable unit. I've worn full skins out here. I've worn hybrids. Right now this is a hybrid and I enjoy it a lot. I don't really ever have problems with overheating on the top of my scalp, which if you go back and watch my videos from Florida, you'll find that I had problems with that when I was wearing full skin units or non-breathable units. It was tough. It was really tough. So, you know, if you're in a hot climate, make sure that you're wearing a hybrid system or just full lace. Either of those work. Now during the winter, I don't know. I don't really find that there's any problem with hair systems. I find that the adhesives work better. I find that the hair systems are more comfortable, all of these things. So as far as winter climates, you guys are in luck if you're in a winter climate and you deal with that most of the year round. Now with heat, you also have to deal with adhesives and glues and problems of them melting and leaking and all that kind of stuff. So when you're in a climate like this right here and you're sweating a lot or you're just getting hot, you know, the temperatures of the glues are going to increase. They just are. There's no way you can get around that unless you're, I don't know, wearing ice packs on your head. Now, you know, here at the channel, I'm all about you living your life to the fullest, not changing the way that you live for anybody or anything. So what I would say with that is, number one, you might have to change your tape or adhesive a little bit more often. But number two, if your tape or adhesive heats up, it's not a big deal. You just need to let it cool down and it'll kind of go back to how adhered it was, if you will. It will get more sticky as it cools down again. You know, I would say that it will feel like it's not quite as attached, or that, you know, you might be able to get a lift up in the front if you heat your hair system up and the adhesive up. It's just the way it is. I really don't know if there's a way to solve that problem. So I guess like if you're going to be doing really intense head exercises, you know, with a hair system, make sure one, first you reattach it recently, or two, just put on a cap or something like that. That way you don't have to deal with it. Anyways, guys, these are just some thoughts of what I've been learning living out here in the desert, all that kind of stuff. Hope it's helpful for you. Talk to you soon.